Well, howdy, folks. It's 7:30 p.m. CST, the 14th of August of 2021, and I welcome you back to Cast Talks. We're on episode 43. 43 episodes. It makes me happy to say that. Today we've got some good news. We've got some animal videos. More of the same, more of the usual. And I'll update you a little bit about what's going on with my vertigo status. I'll do that now, but first, we have some followers to thank that happened over the week. We have 1808, thank you for following, and Mrs. Pixel, Racy, and Ribbonix. You're all helping me out a lot, so thank you very much. We are at 46 followers. 46. If we get 4 more followers, we can apply for affiliate status. If that happened, let's say I was able to become an affiliate, just theoretically, just think about the idea. It would certainly be a good incentive for me to do more streaming, but also it would mean that this could go from a hobby to being semi-pro. And what would that mean for Cast Talks, you might be thinking? So, in the event, you would love if we could get there soon. I would like that too. In the event that we did go semi-pro, then it would mean that I would probably have to put more work into all the background stuff that happens that you guys don't see, and I would have to work more on making it a proper professional stream without losing too much of its roots, of course. It would also mean that we would have new sounds and new alerts for tips and for other things that would be showing up. Stuff to think about, of course, but I hope I can make it clear to everybody that it's not really going to change that much, besides a couple of new sounds that will show up every now and again. So for the most part, don't you worry about that. Let me worry about that, as every good con artist has ever said. Luckily, I don't find myself in that position, but it's still funny. So, to begin with, we have some great news here, and I'll tell you a few of them right now. Oh, and hello, Playful. Thanks for showing up tonight. New film tells an inspiring story of the fastest blind man in the world. Thirsty butterfly, fleeing wildfire, drinks water straight from aid worker's hand. It's a good one. Dog missing for weeks, wanders into Walmart and finds owner working at the register. Let's see, where's the one about the dog? The dog. Well, I want the dog. What are those people called? Beach people that save your life. You know what I'm talking about. Lifeguards, the dog lifeguards, I want those. Where is that one? But yeah, they have dog lifeguards too. There it is. On Italy's beaches, specially trained dogs are working as daring lifeguards. That sounds amazing. I bet you can make a whole movie off of that, off of lifeguard dogs. You could be like, these dogs, they save lives, and also, they're good boys. The best boys, maybe. But anyway, so my vertigo has dropped from about 25%, 100 being I can't get up or anything, to about 15 to 10%, and it's kind of hovering around the 13, 12 area. So that's something at least, but there is a specific kind of difficulty that you can get when you're too vertiginous, and it's where you are unable to kind of actually effectively do much of anything. You're kind of just stumbling around, not sure how to move or anything like that. And I was certainly going through that. recently this month, but I seem to be doing better now at least. Still not sure if my medication changes. Your glad's almost gone, well thank you. I'm not sure if my medication changes are helping as much as I'd like, but it's certainly something if nothing else. But that's not really appropriate to talk about too much, so we'll get to it. So, here is our first good news story of the day. It's about the world's fastest blind man by Good News Network from the 8th, a little while ago. How does the world's fastest blind man run 100 meters in under 11 seconds without the ability to see a starting block, lane, or curvature of the track? A new documentary called Untethered provides the moving answer. After being diagnosed with Kawasaki disease as a toddler, well, hello, I'm glad you could make it. We're just getting into the good news, and, we're talking about stuff like how many followers we're at, which is 46 right now. Can you believe it? 46 out of 50. That background sort of keeps cutting in and out. I wonder why it's doing that. Let's try that might help. But yeah, we're looking forward to it. After being diagnosed with Kawasaki disease as a toddler, David Brown was robbed of his sight by the time he was 13. A natural athlete, David eventually found a running guide to partner with and became the Paralympic champion and world record holder in 2014 as the only blind person to ever run the 100 meter in under 11 seconds. The 30-minute film portrays the unique brotherhood that Brown formed with Jerome Avery, while the two were tethered in training for 15 years. Their inspiring story of companionship and abiding trust transcends the world of sports. When David ran the world record race with Jerome 7 years ago, they were connected by an 8-inch cord. In the new film, you could see how it had been cut in half just to 4 inches as their partnership and trust evolved with almost perfect synchronicity. Written by award-winning creative director Andy Fackrell, Untethered was filmed in the run-up to the Paralympic Games in Tokyo, which will be the first time that Brown will be untethered from his longtime running companion after Jerome was injured in early 2021. Being able to let go of all fears when deprived of sight and have faith in another human being, David puts his complete confidence in Jerome and strives to live without restraint, says Feliciano Rabina, head of sports marketing for On, the Swiss company that made the film. When you see Jerome and I run, it's like one person, says David. I hope people can relate to Untethered when they see it, and maybe even gain greater understanding of Paralympic sport when they watch the competitions at Tokyo this year. The fact that Avery will not be running alongside David on September the 1st in Tokyo makes the film and its title even more compelling. Now the star sprinter becomes untethered to his longtime running guide after training with a new one. Untethered features 2 headline entertainers who surprise David for conversations in New York City, as well as interviews with his mother, Francine Brown, who recounts a 500-word winning essay that allowed him to attend the 2008 Paralympic Games in Beijing and propelled his athletic career forward. Produced by an award-winning creative team assembled by On, and with music by BAFTA-nominated composer Peter Rayburn, the film can now be viewed at untetheredfilm.com. I should have asked this earlier, but how are you doing, Anna? We just spoke a few days ago, but I haven't seen you since then. I hope that you're well. Here's a lovely thing from that movie. You're good, and hope I'm doing well too. I am doing good, actually. So, the guy on the left is blind, and the guy on the right is actually his coach, in a sense, and he helps him run. It's really wicked unbelievable almost that he can do that. The world's fastest blind man. But you know, people are crazy capable of doing just about anything. And these two guys hang out together and they just go running even though one of them's blind. It's insane if you ask me. But they make it work. It really is amazing, isn't it? They just keep pushing each other until eventually they can do it. I think their camaraderie is very inspiring. That's great. Well, I'm glad to hear that you're doing well. I have been a little busy playing Skyrim recently, but I should cut it out a little bit and get back to actually working on things that I should be. But actually being able to play video games, it can be a little addicting, and I get lost sometimes in all of it. But I'll regret it later if I procrastinate too much. So maybe it's time to lay off of that for the week. Might be good for me. So here's our next good news story. After COVID and cancer, couple finally gets to be married thanks to speedy robotic surgery. Robotic surgery, oh my gosh. After recent events and a cancer delayed a young couple's wedding date twice, the third time will surely be a lucky charm thanks to an innovative robotic surgery. You've also had that vertigo too. You need to take it easy. It's true. It's true. Paul Hutchinson is tying the knot with fiancée Lisa Bamforth at St. John's Church in Lancashire today following an innovative procedure performed at Manchester Cancer Centre, the Christie. Thought to be the first of its kind in the UK, it allowed the groom diagnosed with testicular cancer to make it to the church finally. The traditional treatment for his cancer, which has its own way of spreading, would have involved major intensive care, a 7-day stay in hospital, and recovery time of several months. Paul was considered a good candidate for the pioneering robotic treatment that involves what's called keyhole surgery, directed by a surgeon and performed by the intricate robot machinery. Now this sounds awesome. His hospital stay of just 48 hours and a home recovery of just a few weeks let Paul prepare for the big day with his fiancée and his 2 daughters. I genuinely didn't think we could go ahead with the wedding, as I was convinced I would not be well enough, Paul told the Christie. The incredible robotic operation has dramatically reduced my recovery time and left me feeling fit as well. The veteran can also get back to his job as an engineer within weeks, making a honeymoon the only other consideration. Lisa says she fought back the tears when the surgeon rang to tell her about the procedure's success. I'm so relieved that Paul's surgery is complete and that he had the operation to be treated in this incredible way, the opportunity to be treated in this incredible way. The news that he needed this operation after successfully undergoing therapies and other intensive cares in 2014 came completely out of the blue, and we thought we would have to cancel the wedding again. It's going to be the most special day ever, and I can't wait to celebrate it at the reception with our family and friends. This will be actually our 3rd attempt at getting married, as recent events have played a part in us having to rearrange everything. Aziz Ghulam Hyson, Hussein, consultant, urological, and robotic surgeon at the Christie, said this was a first for the Christie as we engaged our state-of-the-art robotic equipment to aid us with the precision required for an intricate procedure as needed for Paul's cancer. To be involved in such a highly specialized procedure using the latest technology is an amazing achievement for the team. Retroperitoneal lymph node dissection for metastatic occurrences is a commonly performed procedure at the Christie. Due to the position of these lymph nodes deep within the abdomen, the operation is traditionally done via a large associated motion with associated side effects. The Christie is one of the largest robotic centers in the UK, and the aim is to use that experience and expertise to allow more patients to potentially undergo this minimally invasive surgery to treat metastatic cancers. The robotic offers a highly magnified 3D view with intricate instrument dexterity to ensure careful removal of cancerous nodes while preserving nerves and offering an enhanced recovery with much shorter convalescence. So this is the future. The future of robotics and medical stuff is, instead of having to make much more wide movements to see inside of someone's body, you just have a robot with a single thing that just pokes you exactly where it needs to, and you're fixed. Now, I don't know about you guys, but that sounds crazy. That would be like you go somewhere and you have a problem that would normally take months to get through, and it takes 2 weeks, week and a half, and you're only in the hospital for 2 days. That's the future. Yeah, and there's not really any scars left over besides a couple of dots on your skin, and it is so precise and so intensely specific that it can actually solve problems without being invasive and causing big scars. I have a scar on my left elbow from a kind of an elbow carpal tunnel thing that I had going on for a while, which is actually a lot better than it used to be. I always forget the name of it, though. That wouldn't have been the case, though. It would have been very easy for them to just do everything they need to with the keyhole treatment. Reminds me of welding for some reason. Massive balloon the size of a soccer stadium to launch telescope to edge of space to study how stars form. By Good News Network from August the 9th. The world's biggest balloon, the size of a soccer stadium, is to be sent to the edge of space. The instrument, named Super Pressure Balloon Borne Imaging Telescope, or SuperBit, oh my gosh, these names, will fly above 99.5% of the Earth's atmosphere next April, and will carry a wide-field telescope to rival Hubble, but at a fraction of the cost. That's according to the British scientists behind the ambitious project. SuperBit will study dark matter, the invisible glue that makes up 80% of all the stuff in the universe, which astronomers map by the way it bends rays of light in a technique known as gravitational lensing. I didn't know about that. Professor Richard Massey of Durham University said cavemen could smash rocks together to see what they're made of. We're going to use SuperBit to look for the crunch of dark matter. It is the same experiment. You just need a space telescope to see it. A collaboration between NASA, the Canadian Space Agency, Durham, Toronto, and Princeton universities. SuperBit cost $1.5 million to build compared to the $3.6 billion for NASA's Hubble. And the international team are confident SuperBit's high-resolution images will be just as impressive. Light from a distant galaxy can travel for billions of years before reaching our telescopes. In the final fraction of a second, it has to pass through Earth's swirling, turbulent atmosphere, and our view of the universe becomes blurred. Observatories on the ground are built at high-altitude sites to overcome some of this, but only placing a telescope in space fully escapes the effect. A superbit changes that. It has a mere half a meter in diameter and is carried to an altitude of almost 25 miles by the huge helium balloon. The mission will also be much less expensive than a typical machine-based alternative. It doesn't take as long to plan either. A final test in 2019 demonstrated the telescope's extraordinary pointing stability, and NASA received recently developed superpressure balloons that can contain helium for months. Wow. Telescope in the sky. In April 2022, Superbit will take off from Wanaka on New Zealand's South Island, carried seasonally by stable winds. It will circumnavigate the Earth several times. Wow. That's crazy. So it's going to just keep going around the Earth for, I don't know how many times, a few times. Imaging the sky all night, then using solar panels to recharge its batteries during the day. This is brilliant. I love this. So it just keeps going. Mohammed Shaban, a PhD student at the University of Toronto, said, "New balloon technology makes visiting space cheap, easy, and environmentally friendly. As well as building a space telescope, our team has successfully tested all sorts of electronic and mechanical systems that could be used in future satellites. Its relatively cheap cost could even make it possible in the future to have a fleet of space telescopes offering time to astronomers around the world." A fleet of space telescopes. I love that sentence. One thing the instrument will test is whether dark matter slows during collisions. No one-particle colliders on Earth can accelerate dark matter. But this is a key signature predicted by theories that might explain recent observations of strange behaving subatomic particles called muons. Muons. Sounds like a cow to me. The cow particle. It's a noble particle, very, very spotted. Great milk. You know what I mean. But I think that if anyone could show up and see things better than ever, I mean, seeing a picture of the sky, of space, the galaxy, the Milky Way from space with one of those insanely huge camera lenses, the telescopic lenses they use. Basically, you'd be seeing everything, and it's going to take a picture of that huge coverage it has. Imagine how much we can learn from that. Seeing this clear, defined image. It's crazy. I do hope one day I get to go to space. I'm not saying I want to travel to Mars or anything, because I don't know if I'll do that. But one day I would like to go to space and have kind of an existential moment seeing the Earth. That blue marble. Maybe even seeing where I live. You too, Anna. It's magical. Thinking about being miles away from everything that you've ever known. So far away. So ridiculously far away from all those things that you might hold dear to you, that you might think are a part of your life, and you're just out there in the beyond, looking away for a moment to catch your breath as you notice. Space is there for you. It's there for you to take in and see. And everything that we've ever done as humans builds up to that moment where we look out and see the galaxy before us, knowing that it's there for us to find and explore and to search evermore. And hopefully I'll get to do some searching before I get to be too old. But here's a quick story. Falcons have natural eye makeup to improve hunting ability, scientists discovering. This is from August the 9th from Good News Network. It's from this year. Dark eyeliner feathers of peregrine falcons act as sun shields to improve the bird's hunting ability, a new scientific study suggests. Scientists have long speculated that falcons' eye markings improve their ability to target fast-moving prey, like pigeons and doves. One of my friends is named Dove. In bright sunlight, now research suggests that these markings have evolved according to the climate. The sunnier the bird's habitat, the larger and darker are the tailed dark sunshade feathers. The distinctive dark stripes directly beneath the peregrine falcon's eyes, called the malar stripe or mustache, likely reduce sunlight glare and confer a competitive advantage during high-speed chases. It's an evolutionary trait mimicked by some top athletes who smear dark makeup below their eyes to help them spot fast-moving balls in competitive sports. Until now, there have been no scientific studies linking solar radiation levels to the dark eyeliner plumage, which is common to many other falcon species. The scientists used photos of peregrine falcons from around the world, posted on the web by bird watchers, and scored the size of the malar stripe for each bird. They then explored how these malar stripes varied in relation to aspects of the local climate, such as temperature, rainfall, and strength of sunlight. The study, published in the journal Biology Letters, was conducted by researchers from the University of Cape Town, UCT, and the University of Witwatersrand in South Africa. It involved comparing malar stripe characteristics, including width and prominence, of individual peregrine falcons by using over 2,000 peregrine photographers stored in online citizen science libraries. Researchers examined samples from 94 different regions or countries. Results showed that peregrine falcon malar stripes were larger and darker in regions of the world where sunlight is stronger. The solar glare hypothesis has become ingrained in popular literature, but has never been tested empirically before, said Michelle Reynolds, an MSc student from UCT who carried out the research. Reynolds added, "Our results suggest that the function of the malar stripe in peregrines is best explained by the solar glare hypothesis." Associate Professor Arjun Amar from UCT Fitzpatrick Institute, who supervised the research, said, "The peregrine falcon represents the ideal species to explore this long-standing hypothesis, because it has one of the most widespread distributions of all bird species, being present on every continent except Antarctica. It is therefore exposed to some of the brightest and some of the dullest areas around the globe." Amar added, "We are grateful to all the photographers around the world that have deposited their photos on the websites. Without their efforts, this research would not have been possible." I've never really been sure how I feel about falcons. They're a little strange if you ask me. I've been scared by them actually, by their, what do you call that when falcons go, "Gah!" They've scared me doing that before. They have gotten the better of me. But it's alright. I won't hold it against them. So this next one's kind of crazy, so brace yourselves for it. two-headed turtle discovered hatched on South Carolina beach gives conservationists a big surprise. A turtle with two heads. Wildlife volunteers inspecting nests at a South Carolina beach stumble upon an unexpected surprise. A two-headed baby sea turtle. I know, Anna, isn't that crazy? Two heads. According to South Carolina State Parks, this two-headed loggerhead hatchling is the result of a genetic mutation. That's a big mutation. The find wasn't as rare as you might expect. News reports of other two-headed turtle hatchlings appeared in both 2017 and 2019, with photos being taken at Atlantic breeding grounds on Hilton Island in South Carolina. Look at that thing. Wow. Like a very cute version of the Greek legend of the Hydra. They are very cute, aren't they? Where for every head removed, the serpent creature would regrow two more. The hatchling from Ediston Beach, for now, has been released into the ocean. It will now swim off in new directions to the next stage in its fascinating two-headed life. Wow. Let's take a look at these. I want to see this one. Oh, I won't let me look at it. Definitely strange for animals. Humans, not so much. It's more common. I believe I have heard of two-headed humans before, but I've never seen a two-headed human. I believe they exist. Sounds like a lot to deal with. So here's a cute one. Thirsty butterfly fleeing wildfire drinks straight from aid worker's hand. Several charities have set up field hospitals in the areas affected by wildfires, where they have rescued turtles and other small animals. After flying away from a nearby wildfire in the south of Turkey, watch this butterfly, conjoined twins is the terminology, you're right there, drink water from the palm of one aid worker. That is a thirsty butterfly. You gotta give that boy some water. You don't like butterflies, Hannah? Oh, look at him, just sucking up water. Just taking a drink. Just a thirsty boy. Using his big old proboscis tongue to sip it up. You get scared of anything that flies near me. I understand how you feel. Butterflies are very, very good, though. They only do good. Oh, yeah, make sure he's got plenty to drink. Make sure he can use it. So, butterflies are generally pretty easy to get to come to your hand. I've gotten a butterfly in my hand just recently. It was landed on a leaf, a slight, not a branch, but you know what I mean, the body of a plant. And I put my hand over top of it because it was upside down, and I made a bit of a claw, a cage claw, and it went into my hand and recentered itself, and it was just sitting there on my palm for about maybe 10 seconds before, and I let it go away. I was just like Gandalf with that little moth. That's what I was channeling. And they're very peaceful. Butterflies have some of the sweetest hearts of all time. All they're there for is the flowers. They love mint too. Butterflies love mint. They're all about it. There's some mint plants in my the garden near my planter that I've made, and they just love it. I can't get enough of it. Okay, here's a good one. It's a short one, too. Thailand announces ban on coral-damaging sunscreens in marine national parks from August the 11th. Thailand has announced that across its marine national parks, it's banning sunscreens that contain chemicals known to damage coral. The Thai Department of Conservation said 4 ingredients commonly found in sunscreens are shown to destroy chemical larvae. They obstruct coral reproduction and contribute to bleaching of reef systems. Those banned chemicals are oxybenzone, octinoxate, 4-methylbenzylidine, camphor, or butylparaben. I almost said all 4 of them without hesitating, but the last one got me. Hawaii and the Pacific Islands of Palau, Bonaire, and Aruba, I have a friend from Aruba, are all known for their delicate reef systems, have also announced similar bans. To learn more about reef-safe sunscreen, which typically include UV-blocking minerals like oxide and titanium oxide as their active ingredients, there's a handy guide you can check out. I'll link it to you in chat in case you're interested. So taking a quick little break from that, I have been really enjoying my time on Second Life recently. Some good people that I've become friends with. One of them specifically is Anna. I've known Anna for only a week and a half, maybe a little less than a week, but she is great. She's a good bean. Her and Sky and Peachy. I don't talk to Peachy very much, but I think she's great too. I've met them all. There's Sam, and they're kind folks. I hope that they will have success in their lives, and I hope I can see them all again soon. The 4 of us make a good team. You're the sweetest. Well, thank you very much. I try. So, we are actually very, very close. Very, very, very close to hitting the... I keep trying to add you there too, Cass, and nothing. What, on Second Life? I can look at it tonight. How about that? We'll figure it out tonight. We'll figure it out. But yeah, I'm actually really excited about the whole the becoming an affiliate thing. We touched on it earlier on in the stream, but we're only 4 followers away from becoming an affiliate. Isn't that awesome? After it's been about 10 months that we've been doing this, and in that time, this channel has grown tremendously. We have seen and been through and done so many cool little things, and I feel like the good vibes we've spread have really come to be cultivated, and we're doing really great things with it. But a lot of that thank you comes to Playful. Playful has been hanging out in almost every single stream since stream like number 10. She is steadfast, and she's a big help, and I'm definitely going to make her a mod whenever we become affiliate. She's going to get a mod status. But I think she knows that already. It'll be great. It will be fantastic. You didn't. Well, now you know. You will get mod status, assuming you want it. Sorry to spring it on you in live. I wasn't sure if you... Oh, we got a bot, folks. Let me just take this guy out. And... banned. Yeah, I didn't mean to spring that on you, but I hope you'll always consider it, because you think you do a great job. So, here's our next good news story. Nintendo is partnering with a non-profit to bring gaming consoles to hospitalized kids. Starlight Nintendo Switch gaming stations have been making their way to hospitals and healthcare facilities across the country. Each station comes preloaded with more than 25 games from Super Mario Party to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. The station is specifically designed and manufactured by Nintendo for use in a hospital setting. The device can be completely cleaned with disinfectant to meet a hospital's strict safety infection protocols. You'll definitely take it. It would help you if the bots show up, so you don't have to pause and remove them. Well, thank you, but it's not too much of a problem yet. Not yet, anyway. It will be someday, though, of course. The device can be completely cleaned with disinfectant to meet a hospital's strict safety infection protocols. It includes a mounted playback monitor that can roll anywhere in a hospital, so children can enjoy some of their favorite Nintendo video games from the comfort of their own hospital beds or in a playroom with a group of other children. Mods can still help in that sense. It's true. It's very true. Gaming delivers happiness to kids stuck in the hospital by providing entertainment and much-needed distraction from stressful situations. According to Starlight Children's Foundation, it can even provide emotional support, resulting in reduced anxiety and improved mood. Doctors, nurses, clinicians, and child life specialists are able to use a single Starlight gaming station in a variety of settings, from entertaining children during a relative's visit, to the emergency room, to distracting kids during an otherwise painful medical treatment, to giving kids something fun to do during long periods of isolation or with a group of other kids, or helping them to relax and feel comfortable when communicating with caregivers about their diagnosis. That was a run-on sentence. In 28 years, the partnership with Starlight with Nintendo of America has delivered gaming stations to over 800 hospitals and healthcare facilities all over the country, bringing smiles to an estimated 11.6 million seriously ill children. I'm not sure how they made that estimate, but I believe them. Over the years, Starlight gaming stations have provided millions of seriously ill children with the healing power of play, entertainment, socialization, and emotional support, and have helped to normalize an otherwise scary situation or setting for families. Adam Garone, CEO of Starlight, said, "We're so grateful to Nintendo and their employees for such a long and continuing partnership fueled by innovation, impact, and generous support. It's been our pleasure to work with Starlight and observe them bring happiness to kids when they need it most." Don James, Nintendo of America's Executive Vice President of Operations, added, "As with everything we do, we hope the new Starlight Nintendo Switch gaming stations will put smiles on the faces of children and their families." Well, I think everyone deserves to play video games if they want to. You know, I think one day the cast talks will literally just be a camera facing somewhere, maybe in my house or something like that, and it'll just be rain or a relaxing night atmosphere. And I have plans for music as well. I have plans. I think you'll all love it. It will take some time to get to work, though, just because I haven't had time to work on the logistics of the plan yet, but the plan is in place, and one day it will be magnificent. Just magnificent. I'm looking forward to it. So here's another one. Dog missing for weeks wanders into Walmart and finds owners working at the register. It finds its owner working at the register, from Judy Cole of August the 12th. Here's the picture. Look at that boy. He's just like, oh, hello. Just happens to show up. It's serendipity. Everyone loves serendipity. You can find a little bit of everything at Walmart, from produce and groceries to lingerie, big screen TVs, and auto parts. I don't know if I'd ever buy anything like that at Walmart, but I mean, to each his own. For one very lucky mutt, if you know where to look, you can also find your misplaced human friend. When Abby the dog disappeared in Dothan, Alabama, all she left behind was her collar and an empty tie-out line. June Roundtree and her husband scoured the neighborhood door to door, searching for their missing 4-year-old black and white fur baby, to no avail. 3 weeks passed and there was no sign of Abby. Then something extraordinary happened. June was working the weekend shift at the Walmart register when she heard a rumpus. Somehow a dog had gotten loose in the store and was artfully dodging the would-be shoppers and staff, trying to corral her as she careened through the various departments. I was like, what in the world is happening? Customer service associate Danielle Robinette told the Washington Post. When the dog arrived at June's post, register number 6, it was clear she wasn't checking out. She was checking in. Although June could scarcely believe it, the dashing doggo, in line with 10 items or less, was her long-absent Abby. I called her name, and she came to me, Roundtree told Wapo. I bent over and hugged her. I completely lost it, then I couldn't speak. I was in complete shock and just couldn't believe it. No one is sure where Abby was for 3 weeks, while she was AWOL. But for a dog that had been on its own for 3 weeks, she was remarkably in good shape. The Roundtrees believe someone must have been feeding her, even if they were unable to catch her, and they're truly grateful for that. There's also speculation that since June had been with Abby in the Walmart parking lot a few times, the dog might have recognized the location when she happened upon it in her travels. Whether Abby was prompted to brave the superstore's threshold in search of food, shelter, or something else is anyone's guess, but we'd like to think the canny canine followed her hunting instincts on a hunch that June would be inside. While we're not sure what aisle Walmart generally stocks happy reunions on, we think it's safe to say when Abby left the store to go home with her mom, she was one possibly satisfied customer. These puns are not my favorite, I have to be honest with you, but I'm grateful for them, even so. Well, I hope everybody is doing well tonight so far. I'm really enjoying these news stories. Some of them are short, which I'm enjoying well as a little bit too, but they've got videos. This is looking to be my favorite so far, the lifeguard dogs, excuse me, guard life dogs. Dyslexia. One of those things, I guess. I don't know. Okay, so here's another one. On Italy's beaches, specially trained dogs are working as daring lifeguards. The iconic image of sled dog teams hauling their heavy loads as they tear a trail through the frozen tundra is the stuff of legends. But did you know pooches are proving as powerful in temperate weathers as they are on ice? In Italy, an elite squadron of 350 specially trained canines from the Italian School of Water Rescue Dogs is now patrolling the beaches as working lifeguards. Wow, good for them. Going to stay lurking, you have to start getting ready for your bestie set. Well, I'm so glad that you were here, and I'm glad that you're able to support, and I'm happy to have seen you. I hope we can talk soon. And good luck at your friend set. In Italy, an elite 306 units consisting of one dog and one trainer, are tasked with watching over approximately 30 of the country's busiest beaches, thanks to their willingness to perform strength and fearless exploits, including leaping from helicopters into the surf below to rescue at-risk swimmers. Six estimates their doggy guards are saving an average of 20 to 30 lives annually, and that number continues to climb each year, because they're getting better and better, of course. Earlier this month, when several families, including 8 children, were imperiled by strong wind and wave conditions while 330 feet from shore, 3 canine lifeguards and their trainers rushed in to save the day. With the help of their human companions, dogs Eros, Maya, and Mira pulled everyone to safety in about 15 minutes. Dude, I would love to be saved by a dog. That'd be so cute. I could thank them. He pulled a water-filled dinghy with 3 people on board for half an hour, Palenga told the Times of London. A human cannot do that. The 6th program is an arduous one. After 18 months of basic training, only those dogs successfully completing the required steps are deemed ready to move on to the more intensive aspects of life-saving techniques, such as jumping from helicopters and leaping from speeding boats. My gosh, dude, these dogs are so great. Dogs are amazing rescuers, regardless of training or not. They know what to do. Dogs have a tendency for that, and it does make me happy to see it. We're going to watch a video in a minute here. 6 teams are recognized for being especially effective in the face of large-scale life or death scenarios. Thanks to their special training, they're better able to carry out the simultaneous rescue of multiple swimmers in situations where the capabilities of 1 or 2 lifeguards might be easily overwhelmed. To be able to use a dog in a water rescue mission gives the rescuer a leg up. The rescuer who operates on his own is alone. We are never alone. We are always in a team with our dog, so it's a 6-legged unit. I love that. I can conserve my energy and become more effective rescuer, Palenga told the Great Big Story. To make people understand, I always say, to pull a sled, it takes at least 6 dogs. To pull 6 people, you only need 1 dog. While the success of the program can be partially attributed to the dogs' acutely attuned survival instincts that help them find the safest route to shore, as well as their stamina and ability to follow commands, Palenga believes the emotional component they bring to their work cannot be underestimated. The presence of the dogs helps to lighten up the situation, he told GBS. The biggest reward is the emotion that the dog and the owner feel at the moment of the rescue, which further unites that special bond between dog and human. Italy is currently the only country to recognize certified canine lifeguards. However, with training centers projected to be set up in the near future in the US, Germany, Switzerland, and the Azores, the 6th program is looking to spread its safety net to encompass wider waters. So move over, Baywatch. There's a new dog in town, hopefully coming soon. Park Watch. Oh gosh, we'll be hitting the waves at a beach near you. That's tremendous. Bark Watch. And here's the video. See some doggos, some safety doggos. Look at him, he just jumps into the water. Aw, what good boys. Look at them, they're totally ready for it. They go diving in. Ba-bum, bum, ba-bum. Ba-bum, bum, ba-bum. Dog is fantastic. Top news story of the month, I think. Oh, that was fantastic. I love that. Alright, folks. So we are having our halfway point here. I'm gonna stand up and rest my throat for a few minutes. I'll be right back. I recommend that you go get some snacks or go stretch out, have a little walkabout. I'll be back in 5 minutes. And we're back. Sorry about the break, folks. And look who it is. Let me reset this one. You gotta love that sound. Thank you, Bittersweet Vanilla Sky, for your follow. That makes us up to 47. Only 3 more follows, guys. Only 3 more. That's freaking crazy. That's really freaking crazy. Oh, let me know if the follow noise is loud enough, because it's a little quiet. Just gonna revel on that for a few seconds, though. I remember the first time I heard the follow noise. I heard it, and it sounded like just the sweetest thing. Oh, this is the sweetest thing. That made my night, though. That and the dogs. I really made my night. Ah, gosh. I get a little emotional sometimes, folks. My bad. But yeah, we're gonna look at some swimming dogs. Swimming dogs. We're gonna watch some swimming dogs. Oh my gosh, look at them go. I love when you can see them paddling. The doggy paddle is my favorite thing. I love it. When they're just kind of like going side to side. Look at them go. Just imagine that's you. They're saving you. You're in the water. You need help. And they come diving in and they rush after you. Look at them go. Swimming doggos. I love it. It's really great. I think I could watch dogs swim for like quite a while. Look at them go. They're so like aerodynamic. They can paddle so fast. Look at them go. It really is beautiful seeing dogs swim underwater. You gotta love it. Look at them go. Alright, folks, we got a few more news stories and then we're gonna be good. I don't know how many videos there are of swimming dogs, though. I wonder if there's videos of swimming cats. Makes me a little motion sick to watch this, but I like it. I want to see the dogs swimming, though. There we go. I like this one. I just love it. Seeing them paddling around. Look at them go. They're just much better at swimming than you think they would be. I don't disbelieve that dogs can swim, but like they don't look like they would be able to, you know what I mean? Oh, they're so good at it though. I love it. I just love it. I just love it. Okay, here's funny dogs swimming in a pool compilation. Oh my gosh. Aww. At least mine did when we tried to give her a bath. Aww. It is great though. It just is great to see animals like swimming around. Oh, the smell though, the smell of all the wet dogs. There's so many of them though, there's so many dogs. It's like an army of dogs parading through the waters. I don't know what more you could ask for in life. Is to have a huge thing of dogs wandering around, just hanging out, jumping through the water. This is like some kind of heaven right here. Warm waters, wet dogs. It's not so bad. Really not so bad at all. So, here's a good one. Video shows Wally the Walrus appearing to drive the boat he clambered into during his latest escapade. This funny video shows Wally the Walrus appearing to drive the boat he clambered into during his latest escapade. Wally has been filmed steering a motorboat along the Irish coast as he continues to make a nuisance of himself. The lonely walrus has been on a 2,500-mile solo trip for months and recently spent more than 6 weeks off of Cornwall. Wally is believed to be from Svalbard, north of Norway, and to have traveled by himself between Wales, England, and France. Gosh, walruses can go a long distance underwater. But the wandering walrus has now made a home for himself off the Irish coast. And recent footage shows Wally seemingly cruising along the coast in a luxury motorboat belonging to Clonakilty distillery in West Cork. Posting the video online, the distillery said, "One of our team had an unexpected Arctic visitor on their boat this evening." Wally the Walrus spotted in Clonakilty today. We reckon he must have stopped by on his travels for a refreshing Minkageen tea. The boat is ordinarily used to forage for rock samphire, a botanical used in gin production. The large sea mammal, thought to be around 4 years old, has reportedly sunk one small boat and damaged several others on his visit to Cork. This walrus is a menace. They have to stop him. It was last seen in Ireland before taking up residence in Tenby, Pembrokeshire in March. Seal Rescue Ireland has now launched an appeal for a pontoon or other floating platform for Wally to use as a safe, designated haul-out site for him to rest on undisturbed. The charity said, "We are looking for a pontoon floating platform as a safe haul-out site for the walrus so that he can effectively be monitored, protected from disturbance, and damage to property can be prevented. As a pinniped, like seals and sea lions, walruses are semi-aquatic, which means they must come up on land or a floating object to rest. Such a pontoon would be similar to one built for the walrus during his time on the Isles of Sicily. The BDMLR and St. Mary's Harbor Authority constructed a specifically customized pontoon replicating his apparent need for physical contact." So here is our walrus video for the day. Oh my gosh. I have a stuffed walrus now that I'm thinking about it. I have 2 of them. It does kind of look like he's trying to figure out how to use that thing. He's not quite sure how, but he's gonna try. And then he gives up. He's just gonna languish now. Yeah, he ends up languishing. Oh well. Good for him, if nothing else. There's a little bit of sound problem from that video. Top 10 dogs that love to swim. Oh, I don't like this. Something about this isn't right for me. It's cute though. Dogs get swimming lessons at this Oregon pool from Oregon Trails. The Oregonian. Let's try that. Oh, it includes paper motion. We shouldn't do that. How to teach your dog to love swimming in water. Dog swimming at a pool. Used to have the walleye, the walrus from Niagara Falls, Maryland, years ago as a kid. Oh, marine land years. Okay. Look at all those dogs. There's so many of them. Just imagine if you were having a problem in the water, they'd all come for you at once. They'd save you. There'd be so many dogs saving you. You'd be fine. Look how many dogs would save you. They'd all come out and they'd be so happy to. They'd drag you back to shore, and then they'd all rub their faces on lick your face and rub themselves against you, and you'd be safe. Imagine how safe you are in that pool. You're not gonna have any problems. You're gonna have no problems. Steelworkers Union is helping turn massive abandoned steel mill into a producer of wind turbines. But good news network from today. Once the largest steel mill in the world, the Sparrows Point shipyard in Maryland will provide new jobs in Baltimore as a manufacturer of wind turbines. The United Steelworkers Union, USW, announced this month that it will partner with U.S. Wind as it transforms the former steel mill into a manufacturing facility supporting the growth of offshore wind energy. Lovely. 1 second. U.S. Wind plans to use the site to make the monopile foundations needed for their offshore wind developments, including their maiden Marwind project consisting of 22 turbines. I've never heard of them. The union has pledged to work with the company to recruit and train local workers while supporting workers' rights to unionize and collectively bargain. The loss of the Sparrows Point steel mill, which once employed thousands of workers, was a huge blow to the Baltimore community and to U.S. manufacturing as a whole, said USW International President Tom Conway. Now we have a chance to create jobs of the future right here on this historic site and ensure that they are good union jobs that will again support families across this region. Interesting. Catalyzed by a 90-acre lease agreement and $150 million investment by U.S. Wind, the plant is expected to support more than 500 permanent jobs, as well as 3,500 construction jobs to prepare the site. Welcoming steel back to the storied Sparrows Point site is truly a full-circle moment that shareholders hope will create a ripple effect as jobs and prosperity to power Maryland's economy. Sparrows Point has always been hallowed ground for me and my fellow steelworkers, said USW's Jim Strong. We're thrilled to be a part of U.S. Wind's visionary plans to bring steel back to Baltimore, back to this hallowed ground. Just 2 more stories, and we're all the way through. These last 2 are actually pretty short, too. Oh, more dogs. No, that's the same one. Actually, just 1 more story. Just 1 more story. Okay, we'll save that one for a little while longer. So, if I had a dog, I would definitely go swimming with them. I would also try to train them to rescue people, but just look at all these dogs. There's so many dogs. There's too many dogs. I wouldn't know what to do with all of them. It almost looks like they're taking turns going back and forth. You know what I mean? It almost looks like that. It's a great thing to watch dogs swim. to put some jazz on, I think. Let's do that. Let's see. Romantic jazz. Let's try that. Oh, it's only 2 minutes long. Well, I can't do that. So, I don't even know how many dogs are here. It looks like almost 20. I've never been around more than like as many dogs were in the animal shelter as at once. But this looks like a huge amount. My gosh, this is even more than the animal shelter. This is way more. This is way more. Just think about it, all these dogs have names. They all have a mom and a dad, and they all definitely want to be called good boys and girls. And that's a wonderful thing. Easy to forget about, but I think all dogs like to be pet. Even the ones that are very afraid and maybe even come from bad homes. I'm sure even they like to get pet by somebody. Oh, my eyes glossing over with all the dogs. There's so many of them. My gosh, I have something in my notes. But yeah. I don't usually get to see lots of swimming animals. We're gonna look at some of my watch laters. Which I need to clean up, honestly. I need to clean this up. This one is titled A Mother Cat Who Accepted a Motherless Kitten as Her Child. I'm gonna change this one actually. It's making a lot, skipping a lot, and I'm not enjoying the skipping. There you go, that's better. It's doing that one too. Well, I don't know what to do with them. guess I'll just deal with it. Gosh, this has been such a good night for this. August the 14th. Aw. I think I'm gonna get to sleep well tonight after doing all this. It's been such a success. And we've had all these recent follows. It's fantastic. I honestly don't know what to do about it sometimes because there's so much. Most dogs despise water. Really? I didn't know that. I'm only just reading that now. I would love to sit in a hot tub with a cute dog and a cute cat sitting quietly beside us. And then we could just sit there for a little while. Maybe listen to some nice music or maybe a Let's Play in the background. That'd be lovely. What a wonderful thing. When you had a Jack Russell, each time you tried to bathe her, she would try and get out all soaking wet. Oh, well, it's true. Animals have a tough time staying still, from what I've seen. Though there are some wonderful animals that are really capable of sitting still for a long period of time. And man, they are patient. They're very, very patient. Absolutely patient. I don't know how they do it though. I'm sure it must be really difficult for them. Or they're just very kind, very disciplined in some ways. Animal just comes into your house. Oh no, the cats keep piling up. There's too many cats. Oh. That reminds me of Slippers. That cat reminds me of Slippers. Oh, there they come. The cats are back in town. Holly and Clint, Randy and Sandy and Mickey, and then Goo. I love Goo. Goo is my favorite cat name so far. Oh, Goo. Precious Goo. I might name my cat that if I ever get one. Precious little Goo. I think it's a kind of heaven to have cats surrounding you and curling up with you. There's people that like can sleep with panthers and stuff. Like they lay their heads on panthers and tigers and stuff to go to sleep. I'm like, that's insane. I know that they're your friends and they know you already, but still, like, it would just take a moment of them being wild and they would just get you because you're so vulnerable. But I guess they trust them. They're such good friends, you know, they trust them. And I mean, trust is a beautiful thing, and animals can be very friendly and docile to the people that know them well. But still, I don't know if I could do it. Aw. Addie and the gang. So, I think it's time for some story time. So, when I was much, much younger, I remember the first time I took a bath with my brother. Maybe I don't remember it clearly, but I remember, like, him and me being there and me flopping around. Gosh, the first time you take a bath, it's like it's an experience. You know, you're just so overwhelmed, and when you're that tiny, I think if I ever have a daughter, that I will definitely get an animal along with her, because she would be so deserving of a cute animal to guide her along the world and to be her friend. And I can only imagine how beneficial that is to have an animal alongside you for your starting and developing years. It's a tough thing to do, though, and there are so few people that have had animals that have stuck with them for so long, and I want that for, like, a daughter or son of mine, is to have an animal that is right there with them through so much of their childhood and preteen years. I want that for them, because there is so much to be gained from that. So much to be gained. Just an incredible wealth of understanding. I want that for them. Episode 43 is a winner in my books. Episode 43. When I was first starting the show back in October of last year, I was thinking about things that I could do when I was bored, because I was not really sure what I wanted to do with my time. To some degree, I, of course, have video games, which I'm not playing really for the most part, and then I have things like work like this, which work and play kind of coincide for me, considering it is such a stimulating activity, and there are ways you can make money doing it. But I found that usually when you do something like Twitch to make money, you end up making very little money out of it. I think it's the same with a lot of artistic endeavors. I'm sure that's not completely true for most, like for people that are very business savvy. If they're doing it to make money and to entertain, then, you know, that's good. But just to make money, I feel like there's such a wrong place to be there, such a bad situation to be in. I think that the greatest way that you can succeed in something like this is to just have something that is purely you. Something that talks to you and speaks to you and is so truly yourself that you give it your all and 200% of you goes into it. And there's just something so profound about sitting here and talking to you folks. It's a very intimate thing, and I am a very intimate and very sensual kind kind of person. I really like, I like the gruff on my throat when I'm speaking. I like hearing my voice being rooted and routed back through my headset and knowing how I sound. And my senses really enjoy this activity with you guys. It's the best part of my week every week. And I'm a lucky son of a gun to be able to have this privilege to do this for you guys. I don't want to pander, but I am very lucky. It's a great thing. Oftentimes I wonder if all of the stars lined up properly for me to live the life that I've led, and for all of you to have lived your lives, to have wound up here listening to me. That is very unlikely in a lot of ways, isn't it? It's unlikely that I was going to start a Twitch career, and unlikely that you guys were going to happen to see my channel or support me. And here you are. You enjoy it too. Which, after this, you want to talk on Discord just for a moment? Okay, cool. And I think this is one of the best things I've done with my life. This is one of the best things I've done with anything. I mean, just being able to reach so many people and talk to so many people and have so many people understand this condition of relaxation and ASMR or whatever. That sees through so many people, and I would love it if someday I could look back on all of these things, all these episodes I've recorded, and see how many more people have watched them and commented or enjoyed them. That's something that I look forward to. I like to think about laying around and sitting like this. Maybe laying on the floor or on the bed, maybe under the sheets. Maybe lying right next to the window so you could see the raindrops. Or just laying so close to the window that you can see the rain pattering. You know, you can see the fixtures of water droplets moving delicately on the almost pond of glass, slipping down, taking all the toll that gravity takes. And each of them has a purpose of movement, whether it's hydration or if it's just movement. And they all have an endpoint, an objective, a goal. That chaos, even from a distance of a window pane, it can still stir the senses and invite that anti-math into your life. So when I'm just sitting, I like to think about everybody else who I might run into in my life who's looking out of a window at the same time. Just think of how many people are out there and don't even know that they're going to meet you or have feelings of love towards you, or anything really. They don't even know. And yet they're waiting to meet you, waiting to see you and understand you, waiting to be there. And, maybe someday, maybe a crazy day that you might not see for a while, you'll just happen to run into them. And I found that sometimes when you see somebody, you can tell when you're linked in some way. Whether it's from happening to watch the rain on the same evening, or being fated to be more than friends, or maybe even rivals. It can be really important to find that connection, even if it's something as simple as rain. Rain is a important thing. I remember there's that TV show Heroes that had that scene where they kiss under the rain in an umbrella. I always like that idea. It's very fascinating and very romantic to kiss somebody under the rain. You think you both get all face wet, but umbrellas are very intimate places as well. I imagine if you share an umbrella with somebody, then you can both get a little wet on the shoulders, but say mostly dry because of it. It's sort of a compromise, a sacrifice, if you will. And I've always thought that there's a place that's basically destined to push two people together by sharing an umbrella. Destined. And I have to wonder if I will ever share an umbrella with a person who is interested in me and who I'm interested in as well. I'd like that. It's a cute romantic thing. That's something I look forward to, though. I've always heard that, and this is something that Rumi, the poet and mystic, said in one of his poems, is that you should not travel alone if you can help it. And it's a very religious idea for him to travel with somebody else. The idea is that when you're traveling alone, you miss so many of the sights, so many of the sounds and feelings and the perspective of somebody else. But when you're with somebody and you're traveling, the world opens to seeing their sight and their eyes, seeing what they feel about everything and what they perceive. And it becomes an adventure. Well, hello, Shiro. It becomes an adventure when you're with somebody else. It's really easy to get lost in that way, and I think that's a wonderful thing when you're somewhere and you're a little lost. It can be scary though. I get lost really easily. I have a terrible sense of direction. I have been a little bit better at figuring out where they... Oh, Shiro! Oh, I just recognized who you are. Hello, Shiro. I'm so glad you could make it. I have a terrible memory for people as well, it seems. But my direction stuff is not very good. I hope your D&D is going well, though. Yeah, it is a very difficult thing for me to figure out which way is north and all of that, but I think there's a, if you want to call it a charm, there's a charm to getting lost, because you can take a moment to just sit down and look to see where you are and try to get your bearings again. And there's this great game called Caves of Quid that has this system where you get your bearings after stepping around and looking around an area for a little while. But you can get lost and wind up where you didn't expect. That's a thing in The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings as well, where you get lost really easily on the roads. It's an issue of wanderlust. Certainly, I like to go around and see what's happening and see what's all about. I can get carried away easily. I think anyone could, though. Alright, let's do our last good news story of the day, and then we'll get to more animal videos, I think. Solar-powered refrigeration trucks will cut pollution from idling diesel engines. This is from August the 14th of this year by Good News Network. A provider of solar and battery power systems is set to outfit refrigeration trucks with solar-paneled roofs that would cut emission while keeping cool 1,000 trailers of food. The transporting of tons of food. Just today. The transporting of tons of food to local supermarkets are normally cooled by diesel fuel. Idling diesel tractors burn about a gallon of fuel every hour while releasing more than 22 pounds of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Yeah, I've seen those trucks. They do have a lot of emissions. Under the terms of a new agreement, XL Fleet will supply battery and power electronic systems for the first 1,000 units of eNow's new electrified refrigeration trailer solutions. XL Fleet's mission is to help corporations and their fleet to lower operating costs while helping them achieve their green goals. eNow's solar systems capture the sun's energy with roof-mounted solar modules and then store the energy in auxiliary batteries to be used to power lift gates in cab air conditioning, refrigeration, and lighting. Approximately 50,000 new diesel-powered refrigerated trailers are sold annually in the U.S., and XL Fleet's partnership with eNow accelerates a sustainable all-electric solution. X-Fleet and eNow are collaborating on the design and development of the system, especially an integrated lithium-ion battery and power electronics technology that will be installed underfloor of the Class 8 trailers, providing approximately 12 hours or more of runtime between charges. Solar panels mounted on the roof of the trailer will be used for charging of the batteries and powering systems when idling or during loading and unloading of the trailer. The systems will be equipped with a thermal management system that enable year-round operation across North America. They can be hauled by traditional internal combustion engine or electrified tractors as a way for fleet managers to immediately and significantly reduce emissions. Delivery is expected in the first half of 2022. We've been collaborating with eNow on critical engineering elements of this exciting new generation of electrified refrigerated trailers, offering some time now, and continue to be impressed by the team's technology ingenuity, and shared passion for sustainability, said Dmitry Kazarinov, CEO of XL Fleet. This partnership will change the way the transportation industry thinks about energy and refrigerated transportation, said Jeff Flaff, I love that name, Flaff, President and CEO at eNow, to eliminate a major source of diesel fuel consumption and emissions for fleets. And that is the last of our good news for today. We've done it, folks. The reading part of this stream is over. Well, I hope that you guys don't mind me saying another story. Let me get this one completely wrapped up in my mind. So when I was a lot younger, I used to play a game called IMVU. Terrible game. Don't recommend it. It's gotten worse as time has gone. Apparently it's much worse now than it used to be, which kind of hard to believe, but I won't go into negativity with that. Let's just say I used to roleplay with people on there, and the kind of roleplays I would do, would oftentimes be a little too intimate to talk about here, but sometimes they would be adventure role plays as well. And I was a fairly active and antsy young man, so I did get up to no good and mischief in these role plays. But sometimes, and at one point, I did meet somebody that I really had a lot of feelings for. We do this each and every Saturday, 7:30 p.m. CST. It's true. Maybe, am I not seeing pieces of chat? I think I'm not seeing chat. I'm going to refresh it. Hold on. Huh. Am I missing people's chats? Because it kind of looks like I am. Well, I don't know. Nope, I'm not. Okay. But yeah, I would get into trouble. And this one person I was role-playing with, I was having a really great time. And there was a lot of tension between us. And eventually, we did become closer. But the tension is a kind of tension that you can sort of tell is there for a little while. But the trouble with this is that I was in such a bad place that I wasn't ready to have any kind of relationship with anybody. So I ended things, unfortunately, because I did like them a lot, and it was really nice to speak with them, but I wasn't ready. Still was in a not good place. But I remember very well that I was role-playing and typing so fast those days, so ridiculously fast. It's a blinding speed of role-play. I picked up some bad habits. Now I type so ridiculously fast sometimes that it hurts me. So I have to be very careful about that. Very, very careful. But I guess this lesson, if I had to make it a teaching moment, which I don't always like to do, make sure that if you find a roleplay partner and they're not they're not, I want to use the word toxic, but the word toxic is fitting here. If they're not a bad influence, keep them close, because role-playing can bring out the worst in a person, brings out the truth, and that truth isn't always good, unfortunately. That's just the way it goes, though. You can find out a lot about someone by how they're role-playing. And unfortunately, a game that I was playing with Capo and Shiro, it ended today, which, I'm sad about, but at the same time, I understand that we all had to go our separate ways on that one. And I hope that you had fun, Shiro. I think I had fun. And if nothing else, we got to level 5, like I was telling them, or for level 4, like I was telling them. And certainly we got to do a little bit of stuff. We got to hang out for a little while and get to know each other. And there's always a chance it can show up again later, but sometimes it's fine to retire games early if no one has time to play them anymore. I almost did that with my friend Crazy, because he and I were doing a game together, but I was having much worse hand problems back then. But yeah, role-playing is a great thing. Me and my very good friend Hope back in the day used to role-play. We had the funniest role-plays, we really did. We would just bounce off of each other improv style for like hours at a time. It was really great. I have good memories of that. I wish I still talked to her, and I don't anymore, unfortunately. Maybe I need to find a new roleplay partner. I've been looking for one for a while, but it's tough to meet the right people with sort of a similar dynamic mood and energy to me. I'd be pretty good at it too. I had a friend named, oh my gosh, I'm gonna forget her name. Araceli was always always impressed by me because I was able to successfully, continuously roleplay with her despite her crazy off-the-wall ideas. And she hadn't found that in somebody before. So I made her very happy that I was able to keep up. I was glad about that. You can pick up some improv, though, on the internet. There's some improv to be found. I think that something that I look forward to and have an interest in is that there's so much to be learned still about myself. And the stream, it makes me learn new things all the time. From you guys talking to me about things that you experience, and from myself, and from the news, of course, teaching me new things, but it is really great. It is really absolutely splendid to have all this going on. These cute animals, this good news, and a little bit of my wisdom here and there. I hope that we can have another successful night like this next week. But I want to thank all of you guys for coming. Thank you guys for sticking around, enjoying yourselves. And thank you, Playful and Anna, for being in the chat. And thank you, Shiro, for stopping by. I know you're very busy tonight, but I'm grateful that you took some time to do that. And I think we can say that with the great news we've had and friends coming by and stuff like that, this has just been excellent. It's been great. And we've had so much support recently with all these new people following. I can only hope that we'll get to 50 here in a few days. And if we can do that, if we can get to 50, I don't know what the process is to actually become an affiliate. If you just get scanned by somebody and then they say yes, or if you have to actually talk to a person, or whatever it is. But we're pretty darn close. We are pretty darn close at this point. Oh, it's hard to believe, actually. Because we come from such a humble background of, I mean, this niche is so unfilled, and the ASMR world, it's kind of the Wild West still, to some degree. And I feel like we're staking a claim almost, you know? Staking a claim to our little patch of Western frontier. But anyway, I'll stop rambling. Thank you all so much for coming. And I think we've come to the end of our time for today. I wish you all a wonderful, pleasant, and safe night. I hope that you, as always, rest well, and that you take care. And I'll see you next time. Good night, folks.